All right, what's going on, folks? We're here with another reaction video. Yes, I know it's been a while, but we're going to be taking a look at this particular video from this particular person because it popped up across my channel's viewing recommendations. And I've done Steam Deck videos, and the one thing I've learned is kind of like Linux videos. When there's just a pointed fact as the statement of the title, that is usually a bad indicator of where the video is going to go. So like the Steam Deck is a complete and abject failure. A statement of fact, apparently, according to this person. So let's see what he has to say about the Steam Deck.
Hello, everyone. This is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org. Author, I the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, King Dio, Lauren Frey, Grin Clover, Internet Bloodsports, and the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon.
So, two things. Potato. And anybody who's been on the internet in the last 15 years, well, I totally understand that. Microphone is another thing. Homie, pop open your camera and pop open your cell phone. Turn some lighting on in the back so you don't have the shadows, by the way. And you will have better audio quality than whatever potato you're using for both.
So, Review Tech USA made an interesting statement on live stream yesterday evening, I believe it was. When did I watch this? It was like 4 or 5 o'clock. I have no idea what it was. So I tune in for 5 seconds to ask him why he hates Nintendo so much. And he's about the Steam Deck, specifically the reality of the Steam Deck, specifically the fact that it can't run Halo Infinite at the frame rate that he wants. It's like under 30 FPS or something. He's calling it like unoptimized. He's saying it doesn't run well. He uninstalled Halo Infinite. Updates don't help. The game just seems completely unplayable on Steam Deck. At least that's like the gist of what I understood from him, of what I understood him to be saying. So this was a really interesting.
So, quick point about Halo Infinite. Those that don't know, this is the controller that comes with the exclusive Halo Infinite edition of the Xbox One Series X. And even on that, I will say, it's unoptimized. Janky is probably the best compliment I can give it. So, yeah, it's not even well optimized for the platform it's built for. As far as it, Steam Deck and Halo Infinite, that's more of a Halo Infinite problem. But I got a distinct feeling where I know this is going because you said something earlier. It's like, well, I talked to Review Tech USA and asked him why he hates Nintendo. So we got a fanboy. Joy. Let's see where something tells me I'm going to be going down the stupid hole today.
Tidbit for me to hear, because first of all, this is Rich pulling back the curtain a little bit, talking a little bit about the problems of the Steam Deck, a platform that was supposedly going to be the next iPhone. Like that was ridiculous when he.
Okay, so when people say it's the next iPhone, apparently people like you are too stupid to understand this, so I will explain this and break it down into gamer fanboy logic. Like I don't understand it, but okay, we'll break this down for preschooler. iPhone was a refinement of a pre-existing category. There were smartphones before the iPhone. I used them. Windows Phone 6 and 6.5, or Windows Mobile, I believe was the actual terminology. BlackBerry OS, like 6 and 7. Take your pick. There, Palm OS. There were other pre-existing smartphones back then. What Apple did is they refined it for the everyman, the everyday person. I'm not saying in a price range, but the category was refined by Apple. So that's what people mean when it's an iPhone type of a thing. It's a category maker for the general public to wrap their head around. That's all it is. Straight and simple, nothing really hard to figure this out. But apparently, when they say like the next iPhone to you, you think like next thing, next big thing. Big is relative given to what it is. So this is a category maker because other people like GPD, INEO, etc. have been making these for a couple of GPD has been doing it for longer than a couple of years, but the category has existed for quite some time as far as mobile gaming PCs like this and that gaming controller form factor. What they haven't been is fucking affordable. So reality, this is the $400 base Steam Deck, which I upgraded for $30, $40 with a 512 NVMe. I cracked it open, threw it in, put it in the OS. All good. I now have a Steam Deck that just doesn't have the etched glass. Woohoo! Don't care about the diffusion and all that crap of light. Not my problem. Don't care. So for $450, I have upgraded my console. I have gotten a console for $50. I have upgraded said console to whatever the base price of the 512 gig version of the Steam Deck costs. Because I can. The whole point of that rant is the fact that even at the top end of the Steam Deck price line, it is still cheaper than all its competitors. Everybody. GPD, etc. Still cheaper. The base price for this is $400. The base price for most of the competitors started at $1,000+. Need I say more than that? Apparently math is hard, so 2.5 times more expensive. You take the 400 and the 400, and then you add 200, it gives you 1,000. So, help you out. I know, again, math hard for you. God help you if you have to do subtraction or division or multiplication. Holy Christ.
You said it. But now, like seeing him, one of the big things, one of the big arguments in favor of the Steam Deck was that it was going to be it was going to be able to play the games that the Switch would be too weak to handle. But with Halo Infinite not running well, confirmed to not be running well by a supposed tech expert at Review Tech USA, like.
Which again, you dumb piece of crap, is unoptimized across the board.
That narrative is dead, and I am well.
The narrative's not dead, Doug.
Like a variety of other games, especially those that are emulated. People who are saying that like they're emulating Switch games like before launch date are full of shit. You know, like.
The only one full of shit currently is you, because you have your head shoved up your own rectum. And you opened your mouth. Or then again, I guess you opened your mouth, so there's shit coming out of that, so I guess you're full of shit. I would say that anything, the structure of you on the internet, the physical presence and structure that makes you up, why do you ooze shit out of every pore of your being? Because all I see where you're sitting around you is an outline of fecal matter. Just saying.
Lots of people are getting called out for this on 4chan. Like, I saw a comment the other day where someone like tried.
Doug, if you're going to 4chan for verification and of your opinion and your take, wow. Get better sources. It's like going to CNN and Fox and not expecting spin.
Try to start like a Steam Deck emulation thread. What are you decking? And then like somebody pointed out, like, why are you in the very first room of the game? Like it becomes like readily obvious that it's not possible to get past like certain sections of the game.
Emulation isn't perfect across the board. Look at the look at what was the PlayStation Mini or the PlayStation Classic or whatever the heck Sony did for that. That was an open source project that they used all the stuff from. Open source means, you know, you can. Someone tells me you're going to be too stupid to explain it to, so I'm not even going to try to explain that. Anyway, that was an abomination of epic proportions, and that was all software emulation. It was software on hardware emulating a differently designed system. Sound kind of familiar? x86 running, you know, the Emotion engine, or cell processor based stuff, or ARM based stuff, different structure altogether. I know that's rocket science to you to figure out. So I'll break down the different architectures for you because you might overload your brain. Vroom Vroom called x86, specifically x86-64, x64 now. Vroom Vroom makes your cell phone go ring ring. Simple enough to understand. And I want to make this clear. At the time this came out, ring ring, vroom vroom, mid-tier for what's in there.
Get past the first room or the title screen even without like the game crashing or like having some kind of stuttering or some major issues that make the experience not worthwhile at all. And
I didn't get the Steam Deck for emulation. I know people who have. It's just not me. So I'm not going to really speak on the emulation stuff too much because I don't care. That's not why I got the Steam Deck. I will recommend go use things like RetroArch, use things like EmuDeck. And there are Station Deck, and there's a few other different ways to get the stuff on. I'm not going to speak too much on the emulation stuff. I have low expectations in comparison when I'm emulating something in comparison to when I'm running it on physical hardware. Now, as far as things not working, I've had multiple games, and not just this on this Series X too. I had game Black Cards 2 constantly crash back to the main menu on actual hardware that this is supposedly designed for. So your logic is fucked and flawed. On this particular thing, Cyberpunk 2077 with the 1.5 update, which I did a review for. Guess what? I probably crashed back to the main menu about a dozen times throughout the gameplay on there. And you can say, oh, it's unoptimized. Sounds familiar of an argument. Oh, it's unoptimized. That's why it probably doesn't run well.
And it inferior to the legitimate Nintendo Switch version. All right, like people don't want to admit this, but Nintendo Switch is superior to Steam Deck, and currently
How?
We're kind of in that like denial phase. I think where like steampunks.
The only person in denial is you swimming up a goddamn river of logical fallacy. Holy fuck! So, Switch, Steam Deck. Games specifically developed by Nintendo or exclusives, barring probably the Marvel's whatever the Marvel's RPG that came out on this. That was bad. Not gonna lie. Ultimate Alliance 3 whatever that was pretty bad. Games that are specifically targeting this or developers who understand the hardware ins and outs, especially now after 5 years. Okay, they do good. Games like Astral Chain look fantastic. Games like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 looks fantastic. Chronicles of Torna, Golden Country, sorry, looks fantastic. There are games specifically developed for it that look fantastic. I love Xenoblade Chronicles 3 as an example. Not the smoothest game. You can see low-res textures. You can see the switch from gameplay to stutter when they go to cutscenes or stutter in cutscenes. It's not high, but it's noticeable. So your logic is fucked and flawed again to begin with. Now, if we want to talk frame rates and all the other stuff, okay, let's see where this goes.
The Deckers, or whatever the fuck they're calling themselves now. Why, they are in complete denial about the fact the Steam Deck is a failure. Sales aren't impressive. Software
Have you done any of your fucking research, dog? Like, seriously? So, sales. You're right. We don't know sales numbers specifically. We don't know specific sales numbers. So sales numbers in and of themselves, what I can tell you is reservation-wise, when the system first opened up, there was over 100,000 for the entry-level model. That was leaked data. So nobody knows what the actual attach rate to those reservations are. But given the fact that, Valve's been able to either ramp up production or people cancel their orders, which seems to be the first and somewhat not the latter, then yeah, it's not going to sell, 100 million units. It's only been out 6 months, give or take, as far as like actual being able to purchase it. And the difference is software company made this. Nintendo has been around well past that. For those that don't know, Nintendo goes back to at least the 1890s that I remember of as a card company. Got into video games back in the 70s and somewhere around there, making arcade cabinets. History lesson there, bud, of your favorite company. So, yeah, we don't know sales numbers, so okay. But 5 years, 6 months, there is a difference. Length of time.
retention isn't impressive. Its library is not impressive.
The whole point of this is for people to buy shit from the store. It's a Kindle Fire mentality, you dumbass. Jesus Christ, you guys make Beavis and Butthead looking fucking intelligent together.
You can't play all the games on Steam.
Reality. If you've ever been a PC gamer, you can't play all the games on Steam ever. New, old, etc., etc. Again, the point of this is to consolize the PC experience, or the Steam experience specifically. That's the point of this. Without people having to worry about specs and requirements, or minimum requirements, recommendations, etc. Targeted platform always does better. Simplification is what drives this stuff. This, to me, is a console that happens to do some PC shit. You know how many times I've booted into the desktop on it? Probably 6. And most of that was to get the Heroic Launcher to work. Because you have to go to the desktop, install it, add it to Steam on the desktop, and then go back to Steam. That's it. Hey, look, GOG and Epic Games now. Go fuck yourself. You're a fanboy. And I'm not saying this doesn't have problems. It does. So if we're talking retention rate, though, that's such a bullshit argument, dog. Like, I have 889 games or something on Steam. Like, that okay. One summer sale. How much are you going to spend compared to one summer sale? I'll tell you now, I'll spend more on Steam. So your logic there is fucked and flawed again. The software is not. I'm just gonna let you go back. So go back for a few seconds.
Its library is not impressive. It can't play all the games on Steam.
Its library is not impressive, dog. There's over 5,000 games that are playable, and I can tell you games that aren't playable that do play on it. So you want to talk about not impressive? Okay. This particular device, I talked about some of the issues I was having with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. let's look at third party, because that's mostly what the Steam Deck will handle. This can barely handle Tales of Vesperia without frame drops. This can barely handle 30 frames on Fatal Bullet. SAO, Fatal Bullet, for those that want to know what I mean. Consistently. Those are just some third-party games. A Cyberpunk, Sense of Cyberpunk Ghost Story runs better. I'm being facetious here, but this game, Sense of Cyberpunk Ghost Story, runs better on the Vita than it does on this. Not true, but the point remains: overpowered cell phone processor, dog. Like, understand your stuff. So this, I was running Final Fantasy VII Remake at 45 frames a second, solid, on high settings. I was also running, on high settings, Terminator Resistance at 60 frames a second. I was also running Necromunda Hired Gun at anywhere between 50 and 60 frames a second. Or maybe, let's talk one that's actually cross-platform. Ghost Runner, 60 frames, high settings. I can barely get a stable frame rate on the Switch with Ghost Runner, which is available on the Switch. So, I can actually talk about the stuff that I do own that is cross-platform, that does work, and I'm not going on hearsay and having an opinion that is based in flawed, fucked logic like yours. Because that's really what it boils down to. You have such a fanboyism for Nintendo, and cool, whatever, be a fan. But see through the red. That big Nintendo logo on your glasses tells you can't see anything but Nintendo. Because your logic is fucked and flawed.
And I think that's a really big thing, that like the Steam Deck, a platform that was supposed to be like a handheld gaming PC that can play every Steam game on the go, cannot run everything on Steam.
Dog, even laptops, notebooks, can't run every game on Steam on the go. Battery life is abysmal on this thing. If you don't tweak the settings, then you can get some halfway decent battery life. So, like,
you're not even getting into like the emulation or like the piracy or any of the weird shit people are doing. No, like, you will not be able to play every game that's on Steam on your Steam Deck, and I think that's like downright pathetic, honestly. Like, really, Valve couldn't have released a console.
Yeah, because 5,000 games isn't enough, dog.
So a platform that could run everything currently on Steam. I don't understand where was the logic in that. And
they've read the fucking room, which apparently you haven't. Back in 2013, they did an initiative called Steam Machines. It was more third-party oriented as opposed to first-party, which that is the key difference here, which history lesson, because people are stupid, apparently, and don't do research to form a fucking opinion, which, holy shit, novel idea, or use prior experience other than having their head shoved up their ass. And, oh, I guess his head's poking out his penis for the tunnel vision aspect, too, for being the Nintendo fanboy. They did the Steam Machine initiative. What they found is, to really disrupt the market, you have to go basically do it yourself. And that's what the Steam Deck did. That's the point of the Steam Deck. It forced SteamOS into the gaming market, wedged itself into the gaming market to make a splash that it needed to make. That's it. Things like the back end stuff, which I'm not going to explain because it's voodoo magic and you're showing your technical intelligence here by just fanboying and having your head shoved up your ass. The voodoo magic that makes it work, they had to help develop. So it took a few years. The point, though, is they're putting SteamOS available eventually, not right now, out to most people to just throw on a machine. NVIDIA, AMD, they don't care. Currently, you can do it if you really want to, but it's not supported, quote unquote.
I also don't understand why it's not something that's like become controversial in the community, because it is true. It is like the reality of the situation. This team that cannot.
It is true. Wow, you have 1 point. It can't run every game. But when people tell you it's running on fucking integrated graphics, they don't expect it. That's the difference.
Compete with Nintendo Switch. It doesn't have like the capacity to run emulators or to like run the simulators. There's no reason.
Okay, so the Switch. You want to talk about big AAA games that the Switch can't run? Hello, 15. When did the first Kingdom Hearts come out? Whatever. Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, Cloud Edition. Can't run PS2 emulators on the actual hardware. Have to stream it. Kingdom Hearts 3, have to stream it. That's rich. Wow. Can't play AAA games. I was just playing Far Cry Primal on this at 45 frames, high settings. And that's a graphically demanding game. Older, this would choke on it. Like, again, Final Fantasy VII Remake, newer, Spider-Man remastered, Elden Ring. At best, dude, get a cloud streaming version on this thing. Get rid of the blinders. Get rid of the fanboyism. Live in the reality of the problems and the pros. Do the pros outweigh the cons for the console and the purchase? If the answer for you is yes, cool. You don't need validation of putting other things down as far as a company who's, at the end of the day, their business model is garbage. I can replace a joystick myself. I had to buy $80 worth of crap. That's the difference. I still recognize this is the difference. Nintendo, everything is nickel and dime and money grab. And I buy into that, knowing that, you know, the hardware, all that stuff, the way Nintendo does Nintendo. I bought into this, knowing that the whole point of this is the Kindle Fire mentality to sell me shit through the store. That's why they have the $400 price model. At the end of the day, though, it's business, and they want your money. That's all it is. They don't give a two-bit shit about your feelings or how you feel about them or you're being a fan, etc.
To own one over a much more affordable Nintendo Switch with its own exclusive lineup of games.
Affordable is relative. This is the OG Switch, FYI. So, $300. Okay. Comes with the dock, comes with the cables, blah, 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 whatever. Comes with Joy-Cons. I need games. I don't have games. $400. Comes with all the stuff except for the dock. I need games. Log into Steam. I have games. Difference. Let's not even talk about cross-generational stuff. Wii U shop stuff and all the other stuff that Nintendo has butchered on every time they attempt it. Hello, friend codes are fucking horrid. Can you not be a fucking fanboy for 5 seconds and have your head shoved up your ass? That's my question. So, Nintendo, I'm just going to let this video play out, bro, because, God, this has hurt my head.
There's no reason to own a Steam Deck. Like, if you need to play Steam, like, your ideal choice would be your own gaming PC. Like this.
No, it wouldn't, you stupid, dumb monkey fuck. The point of this is so I don't have to lug around a laptop, a power brick, a controller, etc. All this shit's attached, and I throw it in a bag and I go. Oh, I want to play a game. I got an hour, whatever. That's the point of the Steam Deck. Have you never done PC gaming at all? I mean, given the quality of your video here, probably not. I'm assuming probably some older Mac. Be typical of a Mac user to be a fanboy. Just saying. And this is a Linux user, but then again, I recognize the problems in Linux too. So, whatever.
Steam Deck from the get-go seemed like a piece of hardware that was designed to like annoy Nintendo fans, right? Like that's kind of what this all boils down to. Is that like
cool
PC gamers were salty that like Nintendo fans were like going out, meeting girls with their Switches, and while they stayed home and jacked off the hentai, whatever.
Stayed home and jacked off into hentai. So you're saying that the Steam Deck users are basement dwellers. Okay, we want to go with the basement dweller mentality. Look over, at least to me, on the right-hand side of your video. Huh, that looks like a utility box. Power box. I see piping running from that to various things. I see a window. However, not quite sure what angle that's at, but just from your kind of environmental observation here, just from that, I would say your apartment, your place of living, is probably in the same thing you're calling Steam Deck owners and Steam Deck users, the basement dweller. So you might be an author. You jack off and write your own hentai, and jack off to said your own hentai. Just saying, you might not want to look down when they play with it because your glasses are a little fogged with some red from Nintendo. Why you
on their like $2,000, right? Like they were jealous, they were salty, so they just really tried to hype this thing up, try to meme it into relevancy, and it just didn't work. And that it's kind of curious to me because it really does feel like PC gaming, the steampunks, like they are like a dying breed. I don't understand why anyone would pay for.
Their dying breed is the biggest segment in gaming that is continuously growing, other than GPU prices going down finally instead of fucking up. But apparently you don't keep in touch with the market enough to actually understand it, to have any analytical analysis to this. So short version, PC gaming is one of the biggest growing segments in gaming. Please stop talking out your ass. My ears are already filled with the dumb shit that has come out of your mouth, which I'm thinking is your asshole at this point.
Or a game on Steam when you could like get a proper copy on Nintendo Switch. You have the option for like physical. You have like more versatility. You have.
Wow, 1/4 of a point in this entire thing. You can get physical games. You are correct. Wow, 1 point out of all this video in 6 minutes that he's taken to explain this shit. God damn.
Have like better variety of choice, selection of games. Like
better selection? No, just no. Objectively, no. I love Switch games. I love being able to play games on Switch. Yeah, I can play Persona 4 Golden. I can play, I'm playing Soul Hackers too. I am playing Scarlet Nexus at 60 frames a second on here. I can't even get 30 frames a second on a game from 2016 on here. And that's for either the physical or the downloaded edition. So, wrong there.
There was no reason, really, to prefer PC over Switch unless you're a blind, dedicated Valve fan.
This is the Io Neo Air, and it
Sorry, Dave 2D. Not a fan of you either. So, short version. Homeboy has his head shoved up Nintendo's ass while he's jerking off and thinking of Nintendo in bed while writing his fan fiction for Nintendo. Short version. Real version. Guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Nintendo fanboy through and through. Whatever. Fanboy out, homie. Really what it boils down to is you don't understand the demo. You don't understand the demographic. You don't own one, which is half the problem. I can recognize what I like and dislike about the Switch. I can recognize what I like and dislike about the deck. I can recognize what I like about the Xbox and PC gaming, etc. And that's fine. But the fact of the matter is, you're just factually and from actual experience and having very obviously not used one, an idiot. So please continue to have your head shoved up your ass so you can fulfill your echo chamber of bullshit coming out of your mouth. So therefore, I can continue to say, you're full of shit.